Hi, this is Zak Mir with the weekend edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes. It is Sunday, the 10th of October. Obviously, not a great week at all for small caps or anything else, really, I suppose. But here we have a few of the better looking situations. First one is Egdon Resources, where we've had nice bounce off the 200-day moving average. That's currently rising around 1.7 pence. We've got the 50-day line rising too, around 1.45. And at least we're above that 200-day moving average area. We can dream of perhaps an end of the year target here as high as 2.8 pence, while we're in the run up to a potential golden cross between the 50 and 200-day moving averages. I suppose only back below the 50-day line now, really killing the idea of a decent push to the upside here. That's at 1.45. Moving along to a stock which used to be a personal favourite in terms of buying the products, but even too expensive for me now, Hotel Chocolat. I think it was £3.95 for the small bars. Here we've got a situation where it seems that other people have rather more cash than I do and are happy to pay. But we're just into a cross between the 50 and 200-day moving averages. In fact, it is a golden cross, so that's plus. And as I say, the week or two or more, I suppose, before a golden cross tends to be the strongest in the cycle. That has proven to be the case for Hotel Chocolat with a gap to the upside last week. In terms of how high and how far the shares could go, probably looking at something like the line I'm going to draw at the moment. So heading quite high up towards the £5.50 level, perhaps as soon as the end of next month. And that's valid certainly while we hold above the Thursday peak or the Wednesday peak, I think around £4.50. So about £4.50, looking for £5.50 by the end of next month on Hotel Chocolat. So the big breakout there, underlined by that unfilled gap to the upside. Onto a stock which pushed up higher during the second part of Friday's session, IDE Group Holdings. We've already broken that line of resistance there from January, around 0.9 pence, and above that, looking towards the main resistance here, post-April resistance around 1.8, 1.9 pence, perhaps as soon as the end of next month for IDE. Marechale is next, or Marechale, depending how exotic you want to make it. Here it's the Luke Johnson play. Good to see that the Daily Mail mentioned Patisserie Valerie about 20 times after saying that it wouldn't do in the article. So that's nice for cynics of the market. But still, the shares, I think the good thing about the shares is actually that unlike most other situations where you have a positive announcement, the shares actually held on to the best of their levels and even closing up higher on Friday. So that was positive. And also that gap to the upside remains unfilled, theoretically giving us an entry point on the open of Wednesday's session, around, I suppose, 2.3p, something like that. And the view now is that while we're above the top of the gap there in the 200-day moving average, around 2.1 pence, looking for the top of that rising trend channel from back in April up to 4 pence, riding the Luke Johnson positive feel on that situation. Moving along to a stock which is not in quite such a buzzy state of affairs at the moment, or is McColls. Here, though, interesting because we had an extended bear trap, September bear trap, below 20 pence and below the old October-November support of last year. Shares flicked up quite strongly since then, so it shows that some people have been caught out. Just waiting for an end-of-day close above the 50-day moving average around, let's call it 22.5 pence, 23 pence. If we can get that, then the next level up here is up towards the 200-day moving average, just shy of 30 pence, perhaps as soon as the end of next month. Good bullish divergence with that push that we had below 20 pence in the RSI window, so that does suggest that there's some momentum behind McColls at the moment. Stock which didn't seem to be a great bullish contender, but it looks as though it's improving at the moment, is MySale. Here we've got that break of that falling wedge that we had in July. Just now waiting for an end-of-day close through the 200-day moving average, which we've actually got, end-of-day weekly close above the 200-day moving average, which we've got above that 200-day line, around 8.5 pence, looking for 12 pence at the top of that broadening December triangle. So looking very much as though MySale is on the way up to retest last year's peak, probably in time for the anniversary of the peak that we had last year as well. So pretty impressive on MySale at the moment, only back below 7.5, and the 50-day line really questioning the upside scenario. Onto a stock which I haven't looked at for quite a while, but sometimes it's worth giving these situations a second chance. And Metro Bank looking quite perky in the sense that we're back above the 200-day moving average up to £1.13 on a weekly close basis. That's the first time we've been back above that line properly since June, and also well above the 50-day line, rising around 103 as well. So the view at this stage is, at least while we're above the 200-day line around 113, looking for a retest of maybe 140 to 150 by the end of next month, in what's been a rather long and arduous recovery there for the shares after peaking there in February. Good stock in terms of the oil and gas space is Pantheon Resources. Here we've got a situation where even though we might be concerned about a placing, we have the shares heading towards that resistance line projection and £1 plus. Perhaps by the end of this month. That's valid while we hold above the recent support there at 77. So above 77, looking for 105 or so by the end of this month, perhaps, or going into next month, and on a pretty strong breakout so far, obviously barring any uncalled for placings, let's say. Moving on to PetroTal, which is another winner over the recent past. Here you can see that shares stretching to the upside. We've got that support there around 22 3/4 and above 22 3/4, the last swing low. Looking for the shares to hit the top of that rising trend channel from back in October last year at 35. So one of those break of 25 giving 35, which tends to be quite a common setup for the shares. And both the 50 and 200-day moving average is rising strongly, so that is another positive for PetroTal at the moment. Could see that by the end of this month. Finishing off with another stock which hasn't appeared here on the bulletin board heroes for quite a while, but I think the last week was such a strong one in terms of the high low versus September, and then all the positive candles there, that one has to take a look at this. Here we've had a break of that line of resistance there from the end of July, and we've got the prospect of a move higher now towards a line of resistance which I'm just drawing at the moment, top of a triangle there, as high as 10 pence by the end of this month, and the triangle formed in the way that I'm just drawing at the moment. So that looks pretty healthy after the falling wedge break that we had. So W Resources looks as though it's back on track, especially after those very strong candles that we saw last week rather, and as I said, 10 pence plus hopefully over the near term there. Upside value while we hold above 7 pence, so above 7 looking for 10 or maybe 11 there as a near term target. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.